ಕೌರವರ ಬಲಸವರಿ ವೈರಿಗಳ ನೆಗ್ಗೊತ್ತಿ ಓರಂತೆ ಕೌರವನ ಮುರಿದು ಮೆರೆದ ವೈರಿ ದುಶ್ಯಾಸನನ ರಣದೊಳು ಎಡೆಗೆಡೆಹಿ ವೀರ ನರಹರಿಯ ಲೀಲೆಯ ತೋರಿದ. ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ದಿಸ್ ಪದ್ಯ of Madhwanama, which explains one of the greatest parakrama that Bhimasena Deva has shown to us, is just bringing us goosebumps. This padya is briefly explaining the samhara of Dushasana, the one who actually humiliated Draupadi in her Draupadi Vastrapaharana, and how he was killed and destroyed by Bhimasena, how he took revenge for his wife, for humiliating his wife, has been briefly described by Sripadarajaru in this padya. So let's see this in split form. Kauravara balasavari vairigala neggotti says the first line of this padya. Kauravara bala. So who is the strength of the Kauravas? For Pandavas, if we ask, who are the strength of the Pandavas? It is Krishna who is behind them, who is actually the strength. So Kauravara Bala, says Sripadaraja, who is the Bala or the strength of the Kauravas? It is their Akshohini Sainya. We all know that the Mahabharata Yuddha had 18 Akshohini Sainya. And of the 18 Akshohini Sainya, 11 Akshohini Sainya, 11 teams of Akshohini belongs to the team of Kauravas. So they had a huge army. And just imagine, the one Akshohini Sainya doesn't mean a group of few people. Our Shastras say, Mahabharata describes this mainly, that one Akshohini Sainya means 21,870 elephants, 21,870 horses, 21,870 elephants, 21,870 chariots, 65,610 horses, that too very powerful elephants and powerful horses, along with which maintaining all these animals are 1,09,350 soldiers. Such huge is one Akshohini Sainya. So 11 Akshohini Sainya was in the part of Kauravas. And Kauravara Bala is this huge army. And what did Bhimasena do? Kauravara Bala Savari Vairigala Neggotti. Vairi means enemies. Neggotti, he just destroyed those enemies. And Kauravara Bala, that huge Akshohini Sainya, has been Savari, has been literally destroyed by Bhimasena. And why does Sripadarajaru say so? Because Mahabharata says us that out of the 11 Akshohini Sainya of Kauravas, 6 Akshohini Sainya was solely separately destroyed by Bhimasena. One man army, he opposed 6 Akshohini Sainya, considering so big of one Akshohini Sainya, that too without using any astra or shastra. With just his Bahubala, the strength of his shoulders, the strength that he has in his body, he destroyed 6 of the 11 Akshohini Sainya of the Kauravas, which is beautifully described in this line, Kauravara Balasavari Vairigala Neggotti. Then comes the next line, Orante Kauravana Muridu Mereda. Orante, when Sripadarajaru uses this word, it means that just as like he destroyed the 6 Akshohini Sainya, he also destroyed Kauravara Muridu Mereda, the other Kauravas also. So how did he destroy the Akshohini Sainya? It is with his Bahubala, the power of his hands and soldiers. In the same way, that is mentioned by the word Orante. So in the same way he destroyed those Akshohini Sainya, he also destroyed the 100 Kauravas. All the Kauravas, the majority amount of the Kauravas were killed by Bhimasena, and in the case a few Kauravas are killed by other Pandavas, those Kauravas were defeated and almost brought to their deathbed by Bhimasena. He made way for other Pandavas to actually kill those Kauravas. For example, if we see the 4th day of Mahabharata war, Bhimasena actually was the one who opposed Bhishmacharya on that day. He defeated Bhishmacharya. He just made way through the Vyuha and entered and killed 25 Kauravas on the 4th day itself. Just imagine the Bahubala of Bhimasena, because Sripadarajaru here says, Orante Kauravara Muridu Mereda. Just like how he with his power of his hands killed the 6 Akshohini Sainya of Kauravas, he killed the Kauravas too, 100 Kauravas too, and especially Duryodhana, who was head among them, which is described in the next padya. We'll move on to the next line, which says, Vairi Dushyasanana Ranadola Geda Hedagi. This Padya, these two lines of this Padya beautifully describes us the defeat of Dushasana and how he was destroyed by Bhimasena and how he took revenge for humiliating his wife. So this dates back to the 17th day of the Yuddha. On the 17th day of the Yuddha, it was Dushasana who directly came to fight with Bhimasena. Within a few seconds, Bhimasena made Dushasana to fall off from his chariot and held his neck and brought him back down to the ground. And with a ferocious voice, Bhimasena says, "I won't leave you now. I'm going to drink your blood," says Bhimasena. Hearing these words, be it Duryodhana, Ashwatthama, everyone, they just got terrified with that ferocious tone of Bhimasena itself. And here Dushasana, he tries to escape from the hands of Bhimasena and just runs in that battlefield. And Duryodhana, seeing this, is literally petrified. But Bhimasena doesn't leave the escaping Dushasana, but rather he started off to catch Dushasana. Seeing Dushasana and Bhimasena running one after the other, it looked like a lion, a gigantic lion running after a very small deer, which is Dushasana. And at one point, Bhimasena catches Dushasana, places him down to the ground, and with his gada, he strikes the heart of Dushasana. And he makes a hole and tears open Dushasana. There comes a flow of fountain-like blood from body of Dushasana. Karna and Ashwatthama started to tremble with fear seeing this ferocious form of Bhimasena. And even Karna's astra, which was in his hand, slips off from his hand, and it falls to the ground. Such was Duryodhana. Such was Bhimasena, who expressed his anger for the humiliation that Draupadi faced. Bhimasena cuts the hand of Dushasana. He even ferociously says, "Dushasana, this was the hand which actually dragged the hair of Draupadi, brought Draupadi to the Sabha, and I'm not going to leave this hand," says Bhimasena, and cuts the hand of Dushasana. And with the hand of Dushasana, he further beats Dushasana. And seeing all this, the entire warfield, for a few seconds, it came to a frozen state. Everyone were looking at the blood-like fountain which came from the body of Dushasana. At that very moment, Bhimasena calls Draupadi to come near him in the warfield itself. And when Draupadi comes with the blood of Dushasana that was flowing there like a river, Draupadi's hair was washed by Bhimasena. Bhimasena takes that blood of Dushasana and washes Draupadi's hair. He takes the intestine or the part of Dushasana that was in him and he places it in her hair just like the flower garland. For all the evil deed that Dushasana did for Draupadi, when she was in her menstruation period, he dragged her to the Sabha, holding her hair with his hand. Here the revenge was taken by Bhimasena. And that was his pratigna also, right? He did that sankalpa of killing Dushasana in this way, and he did and showed it to the world. That is what Sripadarajaru describes here. Vairi Dushasana, that enemy, evil Dushasana, Ranadolu Yedagedahi, has been destroyed by Bhimasena. Yedagedahi the Veera. Such a courageous person was him to kill Dushasana like this. And why this word Veera has been used by Bhimasena here, Sripadarajaru here, is because Bhimasena says, when all this killing of Dushasana was taking place, he with a ferocious tone, like a roar of a lion says, "Duryodhana, do you have the courage to come and take your Dushasana and go away? Does anyone has the courage to come and free Dushasana from my hand?" But no one even opens their mouth. No one even has the courage to look at Bhimasena at that point. So such a Veera, Bhimasena, destroyed this Dushasana, who was very evil, who did an evil deed and is now experiencing the fruits of his evil deed. Well, the next line Sripadarajaru beautifully says, all this incident, looking at this incident, it looked like Narahariya Leelaya Torida. Narahari is Lord Narasimha, who for his Bhakta Prahlada killed and destroyed Hiranyakashipu. And like Narahari, this Bhimasena, he showed the Parakrama to us. I often feel at this point, when there is an action scene taking place in the movies, we generally get very excited, that adrenaline rush happens to us. We shout at that point, we clap at that point seeing the movies. But actually, it should be Bhimasena's Parakrama at which we should shout and we should whistle and we should clap, etc. Such a Parakrama has been shown by this real hero, Bhimasena. That is why Sripadarajaru has put the word Narahariya Lile. There, for his bhakta, he did the sankalpa. Narasimha did the sankalpa and killed the evil Hiranyakashipu to free his Prahlada. For all the torture that Prahlada had experienced, the revenge was taken by Lord Narasimha, who killed Hiranyakashipu. Here too, one of the prime bhakta of Narasimha, Bhimasena, he showed a Leela, a Parakrama, just like Narasimha, for his wife Draupadi. For the humiliation that she experienced, the evil Dushasana was destroyed by him. Well, Lord Narasimha is none other than the Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana. He is the Bimba and we all Jivas are his Pratibimba. And the primary Pratibimba, the primary reflection of the Supreme Lord is the Jivottama, Vayu Bhagavan's incarnation, Bhimasena. So even the Leela that he showed has the very much resemblance of Lord Narahari, which has been beautifully explained through this Padya, starting with the description of the Parakrama of Bhimasena through words like Kauravara Balasavari, how he destroyed the Kauravas and the Akshohini Sainya, and then coming to the destruction of Dushasana. This Padya ends here. In the next Padya, we come to a very stagnant, important, significant point of Bhima's avatara, which is Duryodhana's destruction by Bhimasena, which we'll see in our next episode. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.